Welcome back into this part 2 of WordPress tutorial. So over here, we also have access to media. Now, if you click on media, here is where you can add images that you will use. You can add videos that you will use. You can also add a PDF. So let's say, for example, you want to give away a free ebook as a PDF whenever someone signs up for your email newsletters. Of course, you have to add the PDF here so that you can use it later on, right? So that you can allow people to download that. Now, over here, I highly recommend you not to add videos, especially if videos are huge. And preferably, I recommend you to use the Gutenberg embed, right? So if you're going to use a video, make sure that you embed a video instead of putting a video on your media library, because then it's just taking space on your media library. So here, you can add images, right? And once you add those images, you add all those files, you'll always find them here for future events in case you want to use them for the future. So I can go ahead and take a bunch of images, right, that I'm not going to use now, but I'm just going to take a bunch of images. I'm going to put them here just to show you how this works. Now you can add image by image, but you can also add, individual images at once, right? You can see that right now these images are here, and I will always find them whenever I need them. But you can also delete images by clicking, and you can scroll down over here. You can click delete this image permanently. Now also another thing you can do is you can click on an image, you can give it an alt text. For example, this is a camera. So I'm going to say camera, but you can always go into the detail of what is this camera. So if you have a reference number of this camera, you can add it as well. And you can even describe the camera and all of that stuff. Now also here, you have access to the URL of the image. So you can copy this URL and you can share it with people if you want to as well. So over here, if you want to add pages, now pages are pretty well known. Everybody knows what a page is. For instance, over here, this is the home page, right? And pages are different from blogs. And by the way, when it comes to pages, we're going to use Elementor to edit the page or edit pages. When it comes to blog posts or the blog page or a single blog post, we're going to use the themes customizer to do that. So we can't use Elementor to edit the blog page or the single blog post page. Now over here, we already have two pages, the privacy policy and the sample page. Now privacy policy is not so difficult because we're going to use ChatGPT to create the content for the privacy policy. And it's very simple actually to create it. It's just some text that you can use, to protect yourself vis-a-vis the legal or any legal ramifications. Now, if you want to delete a page, you can come here, you can click on bin, and this page will be removed to the recycle bin. You can click on bin, you can go there and you can delete it permanently, because if you delete a page, it doesn't mean that it was deleted permanently. It will be still in the recycle bin, and so you have to go there and delete it permanently if you want it to be removed permanently. So I'm going to click here on all. I have this other page which I'm going to remove as well because I don't feel like I need it. I'm going to go to bin. I'm going to delete it permanently. And in case you want to delete pages, you have a lot of pages that you want to delete, you can always use the bulk selector. I'll show you that later when we discuss plugins. So over here, if you want to add a new page, you can either click here to add a new page, or you can click here, or you can click over here, hover and click add new page. Now over here, if I go to comments, we find that we have this dummy comment. Now this is just a dummy comment that is added, with the installation of WordPress. And so let me tell you something about comments. About comments, you can actually spam them. You can delete them. You can even edit a comment. So let's say somebody commented something very negative about you. You can even go as far as clicking edit, and you can take this comment and say whatever you want, right? So you can say, you are the best instead of maybe someone insulting you. So you can always monitor your comments. And remember that on Gutenberg, you can always prevent people from posting comments on your website. So if you don't want people to post comments on a specific blog, you can always do it using Gutenberg, and I've shown you how to do that. If only you go back to Gutenberg tutorial to understand how that works. Now over here we have this WP Forms. Now this is a plugin that comes in pre-installed with WordPress. So I didn't install this plugin, but it came in pre-installed. And I can actually delete it. I'll show you how to do that later. But let me just explain to you what this plugin does. This plugin will enable you to create a form, a subscription form. Now, in my case, I use Contact Form 7, but they're really similar. I mean, WP Forms, Contact Form 7, there's not really much of a difference. And so over here, you can click on Appearance. And if you hover and click on Themes, you can see the theme that is active right now. Now, if I go to the home page, if I click visit website, this is how the website looks like right now. And you can imagine that if we relied on this website to represent our brand, this is not really the best looking website out there. And that's because themes really influence on how a website looks. Now, like I said, the theme we're going to be using for this particular course is Astra, and we're going to be using the free Astra theme. So here, the theme that is active is 2023. It's, like I said, not the most attractive theme out there. So I can go ahead and delete the themes that are not active, right? So these themes here on the side, they're installed, but they're not active because you can only activate one theme at a time. And so over here, the only theme that exists is this one right here. We're going to install Astra in a minute. So editor, if you click on editor, you can actually access the code of the theme and you can edit that. Or you can edit this is the themes editor, or this is, this is the 2023 theme editor. Now, I'm not interested in this. So here they made it by default that this themes editor is Gutenberg. And trust me, there's a whole lot of difference between Gutenberg and Elementor. And Elementor is really loads better when it comes to editing pages. Gutenberg is good for posts and for the blog. That's it. So here, if I go to plugins, notice that I didn't show you how to install a theme. So if I go to themes here, you can click add new. And so you can either come here and search for the theme which you want to install, or you can upload your own theme, or you can go to wordpress.org, which is a website where you can get your theme. But generally speaking, I want to say something here and I want to warn you, right? So many people would tell you, hey, we will sell you Astra. It's a $59 plugin. We'll sell it to you for $5. Don't trust these people because you always have to go and get the theme from the website creators, from its creators, right? So don't trust just about anyone who offers you a premium theme or a premium plugin at a low price, and always go to well-renowned websites, trustworthy websites, because otherwise you don't know what you're downloading. You could be downloading a virus, and so you need to make sure of not doing that. Now, over here, if I go to plugins, I'm going to go to installed plugins to check on the plugins that are installed. Here we have Akismet All-in-One. All of these were installed by default, so it's not like I installed them. So I didn't choose to install these. Now, when it comes to plugins, you can decide to deactivate them at any time. So if I click deactivate this plugin over here, it was deactivated. I can delete it, right? And if I want to activate a plugin, all I have to do is to click activate. If I want to add a new plugin, I can go to add new plugins from here. And notice that we have a lot of plugins and I can search for a plugin. So let me explain to you what the plugins are. Let me explain to you first, why are plugins necessary? So for instance here, this plugin over here, bbPress. bbPress is a forum software that will enable you to add a forum on your website. There are other plugins, for instance, like PayPal, for example. Let's say that you have a website that you've built with WooCommerce and you want to start accepting payments. So you can use WooCommerce PayPal payments to process PayPal payments to enable people that come to your website to pay you using PayPal. Let's say, for example, you want to accept payments using Stripe. In this case, you need a plugin to enable this payment processor. If your website is slow and you're suffering from website slowness, you can come in here and you can look for plugins that are called caching plugins. I highly recommend you this plugin over here, WP Fastest Cache. This is for me the ideal plugin, but you can go for different plugins such as WP Optimize. We'll talk about how to optimize your website for speed later on, but typically here, plugins add a functionality on your website. That's what you need to understand about plugins. So I'm going to go over here, install plugin. And in order not to keep updating all of this every time, I advise you to click over here and go to bulk action, click on enable auto updates, and then click apply. Now, when you do this, updates will be automatic. So you don't have to come back here and update the plugin manually. Now, in our case, we're going to download the plugins from scratch. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to select all of the plugins. I'm going to go ahead and deactivate them first because you need to deactivate the plugins before you delete them. So I'm going to deactivate and apply. So now all the plugins were deactivated. I'm going to select them once more and go over here and then delete and then apply. Of course, I'm going to click on OK. And so all of the plugins are now deleted. Now I can go to pages as well, and I can delete, I've actually deleted all the pages anyway. So posts, there's this one. I can go ahead and delete it. Of course, I'm going to go to bin to chase it down again, and then delete permanently. So now we have no posts, no pages. I'm also going to go to media here because we don't need these media files. So I'm going to select bulk select all of these files and then delete them permanently. And then over here, when it comes to users, you can click all users. At this point in time, we have only one user, which is me. But you can add more than just one user. So let's say, for example, you have another user who is responsible for writing the posts, who's an author. So you can click add new, and you can scroll down over here and assign the role to this person as an author. And of course, you have to make sure that you put their username here, their email, and you give them a password so that they can access your WordPress dashboard in the capacity of an author. So that when they access the dashboard as an author, they will have limited responsibilities, which means that they would not be able to do everything that you are able to do, like deleting pages, like, for example, doing much of the critical stuff. They will only be able to add posts, edit posts. That's it. So over here, if you click on your profile, you can see your profile. Let's say you don't like this color. You can change it to sunrise, for example, which I happen to not really like so much. I prefer the default color. And so if I scroll down over here, you can select your language. Now here it is set to site default, which is English, but you can change it to whatever language you'd like. If you scroll down over here, you can see your email. You can change your email if you want. You can add a profile picture. You can change your password, and that's it. Always make sure that you click update your profile in order for the changes not to be lost. When it comes to tools, not really much to see in here. So I'm going to skip to settings and go to general. So here, when you go to general, I want you to pay careful attention here. Don't touch the WordPress address URL and the site address URL. It's critical that you don't touch it, because if you happen to touch it, what will happen is your website is going to crash. And so you're going to need support for that. And by the way, I actually haven't shown you how to use support. So let me go ahead and show you how you can access support. So if you come back here to Hostinger, click on Hostinger. Now here we are on the H panel, and you can click this little icon over here and click anything here. Again, click anything. And if you scroll down after 2 clicks, you can see that you have the option to chat now. So click on that. And right here, you have this little bar that shows, and you can click on messages. Now you'll be able to message a bot, and that bot will connect you to one of the people from the customer service, and you can basically get their help for any issue that you might be suffering from. So I'll go back over here, and like I said, please don't touch WordPress address URL unless you want to spend 48 hours with the customer support to get your website back active. So if you scroll down over here, you can see the date format. The time zone here is set to London. I don't know why, but it's set to London. But you can change all of that. So you can change all of this stuff. Just make sure that you click on Save Changes in order not to lose the changes. Over here, if you click on Writing, you can see that the default post category is set to uncategorized. I'll leave it at that because we can control the post category from inside Gutenberg. So here you click on Reading. Notice that the number of blog posts that you can show at most on a page is 10, but you can set it up to be different. You can change this to 11, you can change it to 12, and you can change it to whatever you want. Now here for each post, I like to leave this as is. And for search engine visibility, let's say, for example, you don't want your website to be indexed by Google because you're still just building the website and you're not ready for your website to be out there and for people to interact with it. Now you can click discourage, which as a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do it because right now we're in the phase of building the website. Just remember that you can go to reading or settings, reading, and you can come in here and you can click discourage search engines from indexing this website. And you can come back over here when the website is ready and you can untick this box so that your website can be available on Google, because it's not really good to build a website only to forget about this option. You need your website to be out there. So here, if you click on discussion, not really much to see here, so I'll leave you to read this, except for, of course, here, automatically close comments on older posts. Now, you can, basically here, tick this box if you want to close comments. But in my case, I'd like to leave comments and always monitor your comments, right? Now here, just read this stuff. remove what you want to remove, add what you want to add. If you scroll to the bottom here, you can see that you can change your gravatar. So you can add a different gravatar. Here we have different ones. Let's say, for example, you want to go with this one. If you like it, you can add it. Now over here, if I click on permalinks, since we have already spoken about media, I highly recommend you to go to posts and permalink structure, then click here on post name, right? Because we want to display the post like this: domain name / the name of the post, instead of any other format. So right now we have wrapped up with this WordPress tutorial. Let me go ahead and show you how to build, or the plugins that we're going to use, as well as the theme that we're going to use. We're going to go ahead and install each and every one of them next.